Hi, I'm Zion.
And I'm Judah.
And this is the Amateur Film Critics.
Here we go. So today's movie, this was like kind of a very out of nowhere decision, I think, to do this movie.
Yeah.
We randomly watched and we were like, okay, screw Willy Wonka. Let's do this. But we landed on 9 to 5.
9 to 5. It's
a movie basically based off of a Dolly Parton song.
Well,
right?
I don't know if it... I forgot to look that up. Here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, because, I could see it being either one, they wanted to make a movie off that song because it was really popular, or they had this plot going by, and, they saw the song, so they were like, you know what, with just a little bit of reworking, we can make this movie fit this song, and that's how we get this movie being a 9 to 5 movie, you know what I mean? Okay, so it was basically just made for the movie.
Basically, it was made for the movie, yes.
Yeah, and which, honestly, that surprises me. It's such a popular song that I thought it had been...
Yeah, it was made for the movie and became for...
Yeah, alright. Well, in that case, I think I'm going to read us a plot overview. We stole this off of IMDb this time instead of Google, because Google's was kind of janky. But, here we go. Meet Franklin Hart, played by Dabney Coleman, the biggest sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical, bigot boss on the planet. He thrills in taking advantage of his head, 3 female office staff, humiliating, downplaying, and condescending against them whenever conveniently possible, particularly his top assistant, Violet, played by Lily Tomlin. Long exhausted over his gruesome bullishness, Violet, alongside co-workers Dora Lee, played by Dolly Parton, and Judy, played by Jane Fonda, comprise comical methods of doing him in when a freak incident occurs. They then manage to kidnap Hart and trap him in his own house while assuming control of his department, and productivity leaps. But just how long can they keep him tied up?
I don't know.
Just how long, Zion? Just how long? Alright. So, what's first to talk about?
I wrote down the acting.
Alright. So, one, Dolly Parton is a better actress than I've ever imagined her being. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen her, actually act in anything before.
Yeah, I think all 3 of the main women are very good actresses.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Jane Fonda. I liked Lily Tomlin might have been my favorite.
Yeah, Lily Tomlin was.
And then Dabney Coleman, he played the character that he was given well, even though the character is unlikable.
He was also in, he also had a short role in The Muppets Take Matt Hadden.
He did?
Yeah, he was, so, The Muppets Take Matt Hadden, pitched to him, he's the first one that they pitched, their Broadway musical to, and then he turns out to be, a scam artist, basically, so kind of like what he plays in this. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, next thing we have down is, the plot. I'd say the plot actually, it didn't end up in the place I expected it to go. That's for sure.
It goes
it kind of goes all over the place, but at the same time it works going all over the place. In my opinion,
I think the weirdest part, besides parts we'll get to later, is so the plot goes to where they kidnapped. They take a dead body out of the hospital, thinking it's their boss, and then they just take it back to the hospital, and that part's not.
Yeah, there was no.
We never hear from a dead body again.
Well, we never hear about the dead body again. They just say, I believe they show us.
They just show us a scene of him in a wheelchair.
But it is because they stole that dead body that they got in the predicament of kidnapping their boss in the first place, technically, because he confronts them. And it goes very awry, so much that they shoot a gun off, and that's... The gun firing off is what really surprised me, because there's never any talk later in the office about a gunshot hole being in the ground or anything?
Well, I just talk about this now because that's the next scene. The fantasy sequence have to tie into what they do. So
Yes.
remember, so in Lily Tomlin's fantasy sequence, she acts as like
Snow White.
a Disney character. She's
Yeah.
dressed as Snow White, and and she poisons the boss's coffee. Well, in real life, she actually accidentally puts rat poison in the boss's coffee. And Jane
even though he never drinks it.
He never actually drinks it, but they think he drinks it.
Yeah.
In Jane Fonda's fantasy sequence, she acts like the boss is running from his workers, and she kills him in her fantasy sequence by shooting a gun at him, just like in her fantasy sequence. I forget how Dolly. So I remember Dolly Parton was. She ties the boss up and then. Yeah. And like cooks him like a cow. I don't remember if that.
She actually does. So you see her after. So the boss confronts her about having accidentally poisoned the coffee, and he's about to call the police. But she then.
Tied him up.
Like, I remember. Yeah. And he doesn't get out of it until Jane Fonda's character. I forgot Judy. Until Judy.
So.
Sort of loosens the things.
Yeah, so those parts aren't really out of nowhere. They kind of have to tie back.
Yeah, the fantasy sequences were the weirdest parts, I must say, though.
Yeah, they were. They were my favorite parts of the film. I would say, just because they were so different. The film shots were different than the rest of the film.
Yeah.
My favorite fantasy sequence as well. Even though I like all of them. I like where she dresses up as No White and all the cartoon hair.
I think my favorite one is the first one where Judy.
Yeah, the first one was also really great, and we were dying off.
Yeah,
when we watched
it was so out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
It was just like, oh, okay. It's been a pretty normal I guess normal's the right word. A pretty normal comedy so far.
Well, except for a few raunchy sequences that we didn't know were gonna be in there.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later. Next, to have the ending of the film.
I think it was a good ending. I mean, they get
I talk about all the characters side endings. So it turns. So the ending is he goes off to the jungle and is kidnapped by a tribe. And never heard from again, which is kind of maybe that's a little out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was out of
nowhere.
The tribe, the getting kidnapped by a tribe was
out of nowhere. But it was funny at the same time.
Yeah, it was funny, and
they all get good endings.
Yeah,
I believe.
No, the only one I truly remember, because basically after the main ending, where you see the boss get sort of just taken away to go to the jungle by the head of the company, the CEO. It cuts to the credits where they give you just written endings for each of the characters, and the only one of those I can remember for the three main women was Lily Tomlin, which says she becomes the vice president of the company.
Yeah. The endings kind of reminded me of, I don't know why, but of Clue, the movie, which I think is a movie we should review in season 2.
I love Clue, Zion. I'm just telling you, I love Clue. It's got a special place in my heart.
The movie, though.
Yeah,
the movie, not the game.
Yeah, Zion. I mean...
Not...
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Not
These are all 6 of the Clue board game Funko Pops. We have multiple versions of Clue in our basement that we could play,
We will explain more of this in the Clue in season 2. Okay.
But, so I guess I can see how the ending has a little bit of Clue to it. I don't see it as much as you do, though. I think the ending
Okay.
is good for this film, though.
Next, we're gonna talk about the boss's actions at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, he was a. I mean, being kidnapped and almost poisoned. I'm not saying that anyone truly deserves those, but he was a pretty bad guy.
Yeah. Well, actually, the next talking point actually, kind of like ties into this. In a way, next I have like the depiction of the workplace.
Yeah.
So the boss's actions and the depiction of the workplace kind
Yeah.
of like tie in. So, depictions are like women aren't really treated well.
Yeah, no, there's like inequality in the workplace.
Inequality in the workplace is basically.
It's a big theme.
Even though
movie.
this is like a comedy film,
Yeah.
they also like try to send the message.
There's a message
of
there, and I
depictions
gotta
of the
say, it's a
workplace.
pretty good message, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, they did a good job. It doesn't, like, you know, it's there, and it's obvious what's being said, but it's
Yeah,
not
it's-
feeling preachy or anything
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
there. It didn't feel preachy, but it was still there.
Yeah, and it was...
Yeah.
And, like, also, like, the boss isn't just sexist and, like, you know, egotistical and all those things. He also is committing insider trading the whole time.
Yes,
so he's not
so-
just, you know, all this punishment he gets is not just for what are, like, you know, social problems. He does, like, legit crime is one of the big things.
So they find out. They go and look in this warehouse that the company owns that is supposed to be like filled with boxes of stuff that they're supposed to be handing out. Well, it turns out like it's empty.
Yeah.
And then he refills it to try to like
Try to make it look like because they were gonna use his insider trading to blackmail him into not talking about you know, all the sort of things, all the crimes they committed by, you know, almost poisoning him and all that. But yeah, and it works out even though the insider trading never gets revealed technically.
Yeah,
You know,
never gets revealed.
But
to, like,
you know, he
anyone
gets his
outside the
comeuppance,
main
obviously.
Yeah.
All right, so I like what the next part you have is how they solve the problems in
How
the
like
workplace.
they solve the problem.
Yeah.
So
You're talking about like the office's like, you know, inefficiency and all that. You're like talking about
like how it goes from the boss's management and to like the changes that the girls make in the work in the workplace.
and in the movie, sorry, that's what I was looking for. In the movie, the workplace ends up way better than before. It looks nicer. And one of the big things that the boss said was like, you know, you're not allowed to decorate your desk or anything like that. The office looked really like boring and all that.
Yeah, it looked like
and
boring.
I think what did he say? And if it looks efficient, it is efficient. It was something dumb like that, even though it like just you know, it sort of like brought down morality and all that.
Right.
So obviously that was, you know, them like loosening up on those things. Like the workplace afterward looks like a 70s club afterwards.
Yeah, it looks like
like I get like
it looks very like one of those like early like 70s like sitcoms. You know, reminds me of that. I like cheery and happy.
Yeah.
My favorite change is so in like the movie you see this a drunken worker.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about in the next point, but the drunken worker gets sent to rehab and approaches the boss and he is like shocked.
Yeah. Which I gotta say that is like that's a very good change. And
yeah, it's a good change.
But I think some of the other changes didn't make as much sense. So one of the big changes, I guess, one of the big changes to me that they've said is that they said they did like, they switched up like the part-time, they switched up to like part-time working or job sharing. I never heard of that.
I've never.
So, and it was like people worked half the day.
People work
and like it said it brings efficiency, which I guess when you're working less. But are they receiving full pay?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I mean, there's obviously
if
probably
they're working less than they should receive, like half the pay they got.
Yeah.
If they're working half time, then they probably
Which-
should receive.
They might. We don't know. Or, maybe they're, able to get more work done somehow.
Maybe.
We don't know how it's working.
We don't
They
know how it
obviously,
works.
we just know that the thing ended up good. And we're probably looking too into this
Yeah,
again.
probably.
We're getting way too
Alright.
nitpicky about it.
So, our next point, this is random. But
Yes.
How some of the characters resemble characters from
Yes.
our favorite show of all time, The Office.
Yes. And
Yes.
I mean, I gotta say, I know we were the ones who came up with this, so we're biased to it, but I think it's very,
Yeah.
I think it very much makes sense. And
Makes it,
but-
so the boss resembles Michael Thug.
yeah, obviously Michael Scott wasn't as bad as him,
Yeah,
but
there's this lady with gray hair. It was the boss was always coming to the boss for advice. Always sees herself as his right hand man.
Yeah.
Which
and
reminds
she was
me
spying.
of Dwight.
Yeah, she was also a big stickler to rules. She would spy around and hide in bathroom
Yeah.
stalls to listen on any gossip, see if anyone was doing absolutely anything wrong.
Dwight would probably do that.
Absolutely like Dwight. That was actually one of the biggest
Yeah.
ones. Was
Yeah,
her,
it was the
this
biggest one.
lady. Her name was Rosalind, I believe. I believe it was
Yeah.
Rosalind. She's totally like Dwight all over. It's not even funny.
And then the lady with the drinking problem probably resembles
Meredith
Palmer. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were making things. We were calling Dolly Pam or whatever. I think. We were some ones that were just very stretched because we're
Very
watching it
stretched.
together and we saw them.
Yeah.
We also called Judy Ryan because they were both the new person.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
Yeah, it was all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
But you can look at it and there's actually very similar
we
things.
resembled-
It was kind of funny.
We thought of this one hospital worker when the dead guy's in the wheelchair in the bathroom. We thought of her as
Yes.
Stanley.
Yeah,
Because
she
acted
was
like
just
Stanley would.
so
Yeah.
deadpan
So
and didn't
yeah.
care all the time like Stanley did. It was hilarious. Okay. Favorite character.
I mean,
This is a tough one actually. This is one of the toughest
This
movies to choose a
is,
favorite character from.
I like Dolly Parton.
I don't know. I'm so
I know. Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
very
torn
hard
between Dolly
to-
Parton
yeah.
and Lily Tomlin's characters.
Really?
They were
Okay.
so good in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think I'm gonna go with Violet. I think I'm gonna go with Lily Tomlin's character,
Ooh,
Violet.
okay.
I know.
Okay.
I know it's practically Dolly Parton's movie with the song and all that. It feels like that,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I think
I really like Lily Tomlin.
favorite scene might be obvious. My favorite scenes are all the fantasy sequences. I thought those were
I see. Okay. I think
one of the best.
I really liked the scene. Sort of the entire hospital sequences, where they're
Okay.
stealing the dead body and bringing. I really liked those parts. I thought that was
Yeah.
super funny.
Okay.
Okay. With
Uh,
that coming said, we need to rate it.
Rating.
Yeah. So what do you gotta give it, Zion?
I think this is 10 out of 10.
It's a 10 out of 10.
I think this was a really good film. No, it diametrically improved in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, this was my favorite
This
movie
was-
in a while.
Yes, this is a really good movie.
No, I don't know if I want to give it a perfect score though. You know
I
what?
think it deserves it.
You know what? It does. Alright, 5 out of 5 stars. It's
Amateurly
approved.
approved.
And we do have a logo now, by the way.
Oh, we do?
Yes, we do have a logo. I'll put it up when we edit.
Okay.
But
I
yes,
see
it is
the logo.
amateurly approved. So, I think this is our third amateurly approved. We're honestly probably amateurly approving way too many films. But it's
But
just,
we're
I
also
don't know.
doing a lot of really good films.
yeah, we're
in
doing
this
a lot of
first
really
season.
good films. I think one of our earliest concepts of doing this movie review thing was
yeah.
where we were only gonna do classic movies. We
Yeah,
sort of
that-
strayed from that.
Yeah, we
I think this
kinda-
is an example of
yeah.
straying from classic movies. But
It's a
still
classic in my
it's a
book.
classic in my heart. That's a great say
If
it.
you're taking a class on on like comedy films or
Film studies.
or a film study, I think you should talk your teacher into like doing this.
9 to 5. 9 to 5
It
is a great
has a
one.
lot of things to talk about.
So Dolly Parton, we thank you for bringing us
Thank
this
you for bringing us
masterpiece.
this masterpiece.
Alright,
We're gonna
with that said, you should follow our Instagram
Instagram.
at the Amateur Film Critics.
Film Critic,
It's in the
yes.
it's in the description. Also subscribe and
subscribe, and hopefully we get 50 subscribers for the Dr. Sizzle's
yes,
lore.
we're trying to do this Dr. Seuss lore video. We need some subscribers, y'all.
Well, I also want to do it by myself.
Yes, it's not a we, it's him. I honestly want to see it
You have
so
to-
badly.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I think we should both release some type of video if we hit 50
No.
subscribers. I'm gonna. do
My
that
premise will never be as good as Dr. Seuss Cinematic Universe, though. But yes, all right.
Okay.
With that said, thanks for watching, y'all.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
And bye.